He's a degenerate gambler.
You are a smelly pirate hooker.
And he's cheaper than oxygen.
He's useless.
But somehow, they make it work. Jeremy Greene, Tank Spencer. There's no holding back in the Sportsocracy. Presented by Ingles Supermarkets and Fred Anderson Nissan of Asheville.
It is the Sportsocracy, and this is a special impromptu post-Carolina Panthers Chicago Bears mock draft, as the Carolina Panthers and the Chicago Bears have apparently agreed to a deal for the number one pick in the 2023 NFL Draft. And at ESPN Draft Nerd, Jeremy Flostradamus Greene has got his initial reaction to how this shakes up the draft.
Well, I mean, I couldn't see this without going, mock draft time!
Exactly. Carolina will get the number one pick. In return to the Chicago Bears, they give up number 9, number 61, a first-round draft pick next year, a second-round draft pick in 2025, and wide receiver DJ Moore. This is a major haul that we had been talking about for weeks, Jeremy. The Bears were not going to get this kind of a sweetheart deal for the number one pick.
No,
but
this is a lot. If you go by the trade value chart, the picks by themselves were enough to get up there. But in the last 10 years, actually 20 years, anytime the number one pick or a pick in the top 3 has been traded to anybody outside the top 5, you paid about 130%. DJ Moore is that 30%. It falls in line with what you would usually get, and I'm going to have to eat the crow that Chicago would get this. I did not think they would.
Mm-hmm. But here they are. They have the big deal. So the question is, what does that do? Who are the Carolina Panthers have their eye on?
I have been on the old text box ever since this news broke, and I feel like I have a pretty good read of who they're after.
All right, with the number one pick in the 2023 NFL Draft, the Carolina Panthers select
CJ Stroud, quarterback out of Ohio State.
This has to be the answer here. If you gave up this much to get up to the top of the draft to get Anthony Richardson, this is the dumbest move you've made in franchise history.
It is. I know they like Richardson. I'm looking at the receivers going, I'm not sure whoever this quarterback is going to throw to. Giving up DJ Moore is a big deal because the receiving core is so damn bad. Like Terrace Marshall and Shi Smith, I don't care who the quarterback is. That's not good. Now, the question is, do they have a plan for who that's going to be? And I'm telling you right now, just remember I said it, a name to watch out for, DeAndre Hopkins. You kept a second-round pick for a reason.
Yep.
And I'm not sure it'll cost you that second-round pick to get DeAndre.
So the Carolina Panthers going with CJ Stroud. The questions had been asked of Scott Fitterer, the GM of the Carolina Panthers, all throughout the combine process of, could you trade up to number one? And he always responded with the same thing. We could. If you're going to do that deal, you better know who you're going after. If you've got your guy in mind, then you make that deal. This deal was not made going, we'll just pick one of the 3. They know who they want.
And if you don't believe it's C.J. Stroud, just understand that the first people to know everything is Vegas. In one day, C.J. Stroud went from plus 175 to minus 225. And it's gone up almost 100 points in the last 30 minutes.
Wow.
He's down to minus 225 now.
When we first checked it, it was 125.
Yeah, the betting market is going crazy that it's C.J. Stroud. Now, that could be smoke. That could be the initial – you're getting a lot of the lay better that, the quarterback coach said he loves C.J. Stroud, and they're pouring money into it. That is a gigantic line movement.
C.J. Stroud goes number 1 overall to the Carolina Panthers. Houston Texans now on the clock with the number 2 pick.
This doesn't change anything here for me with the Houston Texans. Their pick is Bryce Young, quarterback out of Alabama. Mm-hmm. I will tell you this, though. If you want to know why I crushed Houston so bad, look at what Chicago just got for the number 1 pick and realize that your pick is not worth half of that. If Houston tried to trade out now, let's say they just hate this quarterback class, what do you think you're going to get? You're not going to trade with Indianapolis because they're in your division.
Mm-hmm.
If you called the Raiders right now and said, hey, get up here, what do you think it cost? What do you think it cost?
A 1?
The Raiders would give up 7. They're picking the 30s, and then probably maybe a 1 next year, but
That's what I was thinking.
doubt it. I doubt it would be that much. Now, it's not going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
The trade would be with this next pick, and I'm telling you, keep an eye on the Arizona Cardinals. Keep an eye on the Arizona Cardinals because now the chances that the first 4 picks in this draft are all quarterbacks has skyrocketed.
All right, CJ Stroud and Bryce Young go 1 and 2. Number 3, the Arizona Cardinals.
Nah, dog. We
have a trade. Okay.
I am trying to do the computation as we speak of what this would cost. It's the Raiders. And the Raiders will get up here to do this.
To get Anthony Richardson.
I think so. I do. I think they will trade up here to get this. I think the first 4 picks in this draft are quarterbacks.
Okay.
I'm trying to get my computer to do what I'm telling it to do. Go! Sorry.
Well, I mean, this puts Arizona in a nice spot and the Las Vegas Raiders, if you want Anthony Richardson, I don't think you can let Indianapolis take the swing. Maybe Indianapolis got swayed. All of the early news about this quarterback class was that Indianapolis was sold on Will Levis.
Which would
make
sense.
But maybe after the combine, after the athletic freak show that was put on by Anthony Richardson, I mean, I've seen mock drafts that had Indianapolis being the one to trade up to 1 to get Anthony Richardson.
That's how I had it before this trade. I'm not going to lie. That's exactly what I had. So the trade from Arizona would get 7. They would get 38. I'm going to say they get a 1 next year. I'll say they give up 7, 38, and a 1 next year.
Mm-hmm.
That's probably too much, but it's enough to get Arizona to come off of it.
Yeah.
And now you have the Las Vegas Raiders on the clock.
Mm-hmm. All right, the Las Vegas Raiders with the number 3 selection in the 2023 NFL Draft.
Anthony Richardson, quarterback out of Florida.
Yep. It's a total Raiders move. So
No doubt.
This is why when the first thought of the Carolina Panthers trade up to 1 was, oh, this might be Anthony Richardson, I went, that's a Raiders move. That's not a Panthers move. You just can't sell your farm for a guy
I didn't
like
think
that.
Chicago would move down that far. What that tells me is that there's somebody at 9 that they want. Now, Indianapolis.
Yeah, his name's Jalen Carter.
I will tell you, with Indianapolis, I have heard that there are varying degrees of love with each. Will Levis is the one they like the most. So if they can sit right there at 4, I don't think anybody's going to come up and trade in front of them for Levis.
Mm-hmm.
AR-15 absolutely blew out the combine. That is I am chasing the fan base. Who is the most likely to do that? And it's Mark Davis. Now, I have to say this. Look, I was Seacrest out on Jalen Hurts, mainly because the throwing motion was too long. That's not a problem with AR-15. All right, Anthony Richardson does not have an elongated throwing motion. He's just horribly inaccurate because his feet are so damn bad. Because his feet, it's almost like his arm and his feet and his brain do not work in the same accord. Now, am I telling you he cannot be an NFL quarterback? No, because I have learned to stop freaking saying that. He is freakishly athletic. He is Cam Newton to the nth degree, to the umpteenth degree, to the 500th degree, because he's faster. He's bigger. He's got a bigger arm. I know everybody's going to hate it when they do it.
Mm-hmm.
I understand taking the shot. Would I do it? No. But I'm looking at Darren Waller. I'm looking at Hunter Renfrow. I'm looking at Devontae Adams going, damn it, if you can't throw to this, you can't do shit.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you're not a quarterback in this league if you can't throw behind this.
Number 4.
Well, I think this kind of speaks for itself because you got the Indianapolis Colts. And after what I just said, hit the button. With the 4th pick, the Indianapolis Colts select Will Levis. And we have 4 quarterbacks in the top 4 of this draft. And it won't shock me in the freaking least if it goes this way.
No, it makes all the sense in the world. As we've talked about, this class is so close together. You can make pros and cons lists for each and every one of these quarterbacks. The most quarterback-needy teams have to jump at the scenario to get the franchise guy. None of this waiting around for next year. We're not doing that. Now, I could fully see a path where if the Carolina Panthers traded up to 1 for Anthony Richardson, that they're in the Caleb Williams hunt next year. But
no, that's not how that works. Whoever they're in
like
on,
a
and
full
one
Josh
is,
Rosen.
Well, that's not happening. You don't give up that much. Everybody in the organization's fired, so that's not going to happen. Whoever Carolina came up for is their franchise guy. I think it's CJ Stroud. This puts all 4 quarterbacks going in the top 4. And I like frankly, I like the fit for all 4. I really do, because Anthony Richardson gets the best weapons. So the one that is the rawest gets the most time, because they do have Jared Stidham still there. They'd have to re-sign him. I think they will. And you sit him behind Anthony Richardson behind him, let him learn to be a quarterback in the NFL, and you can take some time with him. What that says is Josh McDaniels is now one of the safer coaches in the NFL. Will Levis, huge arm, pairs phenomenally with Jelani Woods and Michael Pittman Jr. You're going to have to add another player somewhere to that receiving core, but the line is good. You get Bernard Raymond back this year, see what he really is, because you didn't get a huge look at him last year. I like the fit for all 4, and the happiest team in the NFL is the team picking at 5.
Yeah, Seattle Seahawks on the board at number 5, and now they get their choice of any non-quarterback in this draft.
And I will run to the podium. Hit that damn button. With the 5th pick, the Seattle Seahawks select Will Anderson Jr., edge out of Alabama.
Guy should have been the number 1 pick in this draft, but quarterback is the bigger position. And
no doubt.
And there are also.
Well, here's the thing. If I'm Seattle, I know I'm good, and I just got a dog. Look, I've thrown some shade at Will Anderson because I feel like a lot of people think he is Khalil Mack 2.0. He is not that refined. He was on a phenomenal defense, and it was really hard to double-team him. Moves and things like that, hey, he comes in this league as a dynamic rusher. Are there some things I want to round off? Yes. But I think Seattle's the ideal fit. I thought that the entire time. My fear with Will Anderson was he wound up with the Bears or he wound up with the Arizona Cardinals, and he's the only guy on the defense. Well, that's not the problem with the Seattle Seahawks. You get back Jamal Adams this year. I'm going to go out on a limb and say you're not going to struggle to rush the passer to the same degree next year. You got Geno Smith solidified. The offense is good. Later on in the draft, stick around and you'll see what I'm talking about. The Seattle Seahawks are the happiest team in the NFL right now. Between that Will Anderson pick and who they'll take later, just trust me, this is the happiest team in the league.
At number 6, you got the Detroit Lions on the clock.
This doesn't change for me. I think they look at the corner, and then I think they look at the class of corners and go, I can get a guy down with my second first-round pick. I'm taking Jalen Carter. You know, there are things with him, the immaturity, I get it. You know who I want coaching him up? Dan friggin' Campbell. The Motor City madman Dan Campbell, who's just going to come in here and say, look here, dog, that's a whole mess of fucking money. Maybe grow the hell up. To me, that's the ideal fit. I look at him and go, I am going to be harder on you than any coach you've ever had, because I am not going to let you screw up your talent by doing dumb shit. So I'm going to get you right. This is the perfect scenario. You fit in this defense. You are the centerpiece of this defense. With Aiden Hutchinson and all the pieces that you've added, I can get a corner at 18. Now I don't have to mess with Kalijah Kancey, who I like, but not to the same degree. And I'm very, very happy if I'm the Detroit Lions as well.
Chicago Bears' hardest hit. Because I believe that's why they were willing to take the risk to move down to 9, is that Jalen Carter may fall.
Just give it a minute. There's a player.
Number 7 pick now goes to the Arizona Cardinals after the Las Vegas Raiders traded up to 3 to take Anthony Richardson. So what will the Arizona Cardinals do?
Colin Greene in our YouTube chat said I need to calm down. It's mock draft, baby. We got number 1 pick in the draft traded. This doesn't happen every year. I'm on fire for Christ. Let's go.
And the pick
now hit the button.
Is in.
Arizona Cardinals, number 7 overall, Tyree Wilson, edge out of Texas Tech. What team in the NFL loves height, weight, speed guys more than the Arizona Cardinals?
Yep.
And now you've got a defensive mind in Jonathan Gannon that I think can actually use Tyree Wilson. Look, there's no player in this draft that is more boom or bust than Tyree. The boom is phenomenal because he is an athletic freak of nature. There are a lot of times he would just disappear. I think that's because he was on a bad team. You get him in Arizona where you do have a combination of defensive talent, and now you've got an actual big boy coach instead of Cliff Kingsbury, who's out looking over the rocks in his big badass mansion, wondering when his Instagram girlfriend's going to come touch his goober. I like being able to say things like that. It makes me very happy.
Very nice. Very nice. Well, with the number 8 pick in the 2023 NFL Draft, the Atlanta Falcons.
With the 8th pick, the Atlanta Falcons select Christian Gonzalez, cornerback, Oregon.
Okay, so you team him up with A.J. Terrell. That secondary looks a little more frightening.
Cornerback fall. It's not so much that it falls off a cliff. There's just two that are clearly better. It's Christian Gonzalez, it's Joey Porter, and then there's a slight drop-off to Devin Witherspoon from everything I've been told.
Mm-hmm.
For me, they rank pretty closely. But I do feel like there's a bit of a drop-off. Gonzalez, he and A.J. Terrell create a tremendous tandem to me. And it takes away a little bit of the problem with the pass rush. I think you hit on Arnold Ebiketie last year. Troy Anderson's a guy I really believe in. I like some of the things that are happening with his defense. And where they're going on offense is I'm going to run the damn ball. I thought about Peter Skoronski here, but I don't think they could bypass Christian Gonzalez if he fell in their lap.
At number 9, formerly the Carolina Panthers selection, but they're up at 1 to take CJ Stroud. The Chicago Bears falling back to 9. Who do they get?
I think they jizz them in their pants to run up and put this in. Peter Skoronski, offensive tackle, Northwestern.
That solves a major problem for this offensive
but
line.
His arms are only 32 1/4 inches. All right, that's exactly 3/4 of an inch shorter than Rashawn Slater. This could be your left tackle of the future. Very easily could be.
Mm-hmm.
You move Braxton Jones over to the right side. You slide Tevin Jenkins into guard, which is, I think, his best spot. And now I'm looking at that line going, this is not terrible.
Is he the athletic fit for a running quarterback in the NFL?
Yes. He's the perfect fit. The problem was that I could never get Chicago down far enough for him to be the best player on the board. Well, the trade with Carolina, that's exactly what it did. I mean, what else am I supposed to do? So I did all of this to see what I have in Justin Fields, and instead I'm going to throw 7 rookies on my defense again? No, I have a bajillion fucking dollars. I'm going to go get the best player on the board. I'll pay Javon Hargrave. I'll pay Tremaine Edmonds, whoever you want, go get him.
Mm-hmm.
You have twice as much money as any team in the league. Just get the player that helps your quarterback. If you're wrong and Justin Fields is not the guy, a year from now, he'll help that quarterback. Peter Skoronski's a dog, and I don't care how damn long his arms are. He is the best lineman in this class, and it's not close.
With the 10th pick in the 2023 NFL Draft, the Philadelphia Eagles.
Joey Porter Jr., cornerback, Penn State. This didn't change.
No, I feel like he is the guy. To me, he is the number 1 corner in this class.
You can't have him ahead of Christian Gonzalez. That's a personal bias. You liked his dad. You like some of his tape.
Yep.
Christian Gonzalez is a better physical athlete. Now, Joey Porter is a big physical. He can do damn near anything. That's the difference between Christian Gonzalez, Joey Porter, and then when you get into Devin Witherspoon, Cam Smith, who I'll talk about in a little bit. All of those guys have a specific scheme fit. I don't feel that way about Porter and Gonzalez. They can go into any defense and do exactly what you ask them to do. Are there better fits? Absolutely. These two, I don't care. Don't give me he doesn't fit the scheme. Yeah, he does. Yeah, he does. And Joey Porter is a dog. He will be one of the best tackling corners in the league. Might take a year, but he will, and I think he comes in as a 1.
Mm-hmm.
And my fear, well, I shouldn't say fear. I would really like it better if Darius Slay was on the other side of him. I don't love the idea of him getting number 1, having to shade a number 1 his rookie year. I would like him to step into that in a year. So maybe back off that Darius Slay bullshit.
At number 11, the Tennessee Titans.
Paris Johnson Jr., Offensive tackle, Ohio State. I would almost like this to be somebody else because he is raw. But I'm looking at Tennessee going, I'm not sure that I care. I mean, this team's not going to be good. You're talking about trading Derrick Henry, which is the only offensive weapon you have. It's Traylon Burks and me. So I have time to develop a guy. I don't know what you're going to do at quarterback, but you have to replace Taylor Lewan or you're going to get whoever plays quarterback killed. And I think Paris Johnson can come in, whether you need him on the right side, whether you want to start him on the right side and eventually get him to the left, or you want to start him on the left and just let him learn like Andrew Thomas did. You're going to take some lumps, and it's going to suck. But you're the guy.
Yeah.
Because there's a huge drop-off in offensive linemen after Paris Johnson.
Yeah. The Houston Texans with the number 2 pick took Bryce Young. And with the number 12 pick, will they give him somebody to throw to?
Quentin Johnston, wide receiver, TCU. This is the number 1 wide receiver in the draft. Smith and Jigba has personality issues, commitment issues. Jordan Addison came into the combine at like a $178 and then didn't actually test that well. It was a bad weekend at the combine for small receivers because, in large part, they came in smaller than you thought, and they were not as athletic as you thought. That, to me, pushes Quentin Johnston in the top 15. I don't think he gets past the Houston Texans. And you just remember I said this. What team am I most connected to?
The Jets.
He will not last past the New York Jets. You remember I said that.
Okay.
Because they're keeping 13, and they have been pretty damn adamant about it. Now,
God, how scary could that be?
Well, don't make me think about it while a camera's pointed at me.
Oh, no.
I don't want anybody to see vinegar strokes. That would be weird. We would have a much different relationship at that point.
Vinegar strokes?
Oh, come on.
What
you watch the league. Come on. I mean, it's not as good as Jeff Goldblum, but let's go.
With the number 13 pick in the 2023 NFL Draft, the word is they're not going to have to give up this pick to get Aaron Rodgers.
No, it appears that it's 2-2s with Green Bay for Aaron Rodgers. So that's everything I've been told in the package is allegedly done.
So the New York Jets.
I bounced around a lot of players here. And then I deferred to the Joe Douglas model of drafting. Who can I get right here that I can't get even a facsimile of later? And it's Brian Branch, safety out of Alabama.
That's a hell of a pick.
Look, my comp on Brian Branch is Minkah Fitzpatrick. I want you to think about what I just said. I'm adding Minkah Fitzpatrick to that New York Jets defense. That is fucking terrifying.
Yep.
Because I think I think you'll see Chuck Clark used in the slot that they just acquired from the Baltimore Ravens. You allow Brian Branch to just be rangy. You can move him all over the place. He can play in the slot too. He's a good blitzer. He's the best safety in this class by 58 times. But we just added Chuck Clark. I get it. They do two completely different things.
Mm-hmm.
Just because they both play safety doesn't mean they play the same safety.
Right, and you just saw the Baltimore Ravens draft a safety last year in Kyle Hamilton, who also played behind 2 starting safeties. You kind of see where I'm going with that is like that you don't throw the rookie to the wolves immediately.
No.
You take Jordan Whitehead and Chuck Clark and let them do the heavy lifting, and then you bring him in sparingly. Ease him into the position of safety in the NFL. I like it. Brian Branch out of Alabama to the New York Jets at number 13. The 14th pick goes to those, Jeremy's hated New England Patriots.
Sorry, I got a little excited there. I feel like with New England, if it falls this way, they can't pass because you're going to lose Jonathan Jones. You've already lost J.C. Jackson. I have been told the industry is not as high on this guy as I am, but I think he's a perfect fit for Bill.
Okay.
It's Devin Witherspoon, cornerback out of Illinois. Receiver, there are receivers you can get later in this draft. There are several that are on the trade market. They still believe in Devontae Parker. I am just not dead sold that they are going to fall out of their way to take a receiver this early. That's a very non-Bill thing to do, and Devin Witherspoon's the best player on the board, and it's not close. For me.
Yeah. At number 15, the Green Bay Packers.
I bounced around a lot of players here. I legitimately bounced a ton of players here. And I don't love doing what I'm getting ready to do. But I feel like if I keep saying this, eventually it's going to come true.
That they're going to draft a weapon?
I'm taking Jackson Smith and Jigba. There is a big drop-off after him.
I mean, let's put it this way. If Brian Gutekunst and the rest of the Green Bay Packers want to give the ultimate fuck you to Aaron Rodgers,
you draft a receiver as soon as you ship him out of town.
You ship him out of town, and the first thing you do is draft a fucking wide receiver? Like, I am going to kill you if I'm Aaron Rodgers and we ever face on a field.
And look, the dynamic between Njigba and Christian Watson is really high. I really like the fit between those two because Christian Watson's the one that can eat you underneath, and once he gets the ball in his hand, just beat the Jesus out of you. And Jackson Smith and Jigba's a guy that he's got some wiggle deep. Look, we fall for this with Ohio State receivers all the time. You have to understand, even if they look a little slow at Ohio State, it's because the damn offense is so fast.
Mm-hmm.
Garrett Wilson, he didn't have a problem getting open deep. Chris Olave didn't have a problem getting open deep. I could keep doing that. And I just feel like if he's got a Christian Watson, and whether it's Lazard or Dubs or whatever, I'm going to have to prop up Jordan Love. And so that's what I'm going to do here. I think Jackson Smith and Jigba is actually the most pro-ready receiver in this draft.
DNA Tooth Podcast says if we stay at 15, we don't deserve to have a team. What, are you going to trade up?
Oh, you shouldn't trade up.
Are you trading down for more capital?
The thing is, everybody's going to want to trade down. There's not that many teams that are going to be losing their shit to trade down. Or to trade up, excuse me, because there's not that many players that you'd be trading up for.
Mm-hmm. All right, are we? How far are we going? Are we going all the way here?
Screw it. Well, fuck it. We'll do it live.
Number 16.
I also desperately want to see concurrent viewers get to 100 because I don't think we've ever done that outside of the draft itself.
Nice. Washington Commanders at number 16. Who will they take in the 2023 NFL Draft?
There's a slew of players that this could be. There's one that really helped himself, and I'm not going to lie, I considered Deonte Banks here because they do need a corner. But I'm not sure that there's not a run of corners that happens later, and I can get to that point. I'm looking at I have to help Sam Howell as much as I can. My receivers are good. I think your tackles are fine.
Mm-hmm.
But you have a big damn problem at guard. Well, there's one that's in my top 10 of overall players. So Cyrus Torrance from Florida.
Big boy out of Florida.
It's just a fit that really works because he's going to help you in the run game. Then you can allow Sam Howell to do one of the things he does so well, which is play action. I know I'll be able to run the ball. I love Osiris Torrance. Like I said, he's a top 10 pick. He's a top 10 player in this draft for me. It's just at a position that's not as valued. There is a big drop-off at guard from him to the next player.
Number 17, Pittsburgh Steelers.
There are people that are going to be mad about this, and I'm going to have to explain it when I do it because they wanted Osiris Torrance.
Mm-hmm.
I have been told repeatedly that Broderick Jones is going to go between the last 5 picks of the first round and the first 5 picks of the second round. And everybody in the industry seems to like this guy better than I do. Anton Harrison, tackle, Oklahoma. The exact word I got on him is if you need a left tackle that can come in and play right now, he is the best tackle in this class. I don't, and now I got to be 100% honest here. I miss on Big 12 offensive players more than I miss on anything else because it is so hard to figure out when you've got defensive linemen, and you've got defensive linemen in the Big 12 that are 240 pounds.
Right.
So I see speed beat him off the edge. You're not dealing with players like that in the NFL because they don't make it. So that's my biggest knock on him. Once somebody said it to me, I went, okay, I still don't love it. But the Pittsburgh Steelers need a tackle badly. He is the most pro-ready right now. If Lamar Jackson, for whatever reason, is not in Baltimore, then you need the most pro-ready because that's the only way you're going to win this division because it's a tough-ass division.
All right, the Detroit Lions with their second pick in the first round of the 2023 NFL Draft. The first pick, they ended up with Jalen Carter out of Georgia.
Oh, just wait.
Where do they go with this one?
Nolan Smith, edge out of Georgia. Oh.
Ooh. I love that a lot.
You should.
Nolan Smith with Malcolm Rodriguez in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
You're giving me a little semi over here, and it ain't even my team.
And Jalen Carter.
Uh-huh. Wow. That could be fun.
It could be fun.
And this Detroit Lions team is well on the path to being a contender in the NFC.
And I'm sure somebody's going to say, but what about a corner? I'm not so sure you don't end up with Jalen Ramsey. And if you don't, you still have capital in day 2. There is a massive glut of corners that will go in day 2. And I think a lot of them are plug-and-play starters. Emmanuel Forbes, Deonte Banks, not so sure he makes it out of the first round, but we'll see as we go here. Cam Smith, who the reason that he has fallen is immaturity issues. Apparently he has not impressed a slew of teams, and they are worried about his maturity level and some personality red flags. There's not another edge like Nolan Smith, physical freak-wise. And look, I know you have a couple already. Aiden Hutchinson is a D-O double G dog. And Nolan Smith, one of the things that bothered me on tape about him, before I looked back at it after the combine, I wasn't 100% sure what position he played. And now I'm not so sure that I care.
Mm-hmm.
Now I look at it and go, he's just a damn football player.
Mm-hmm.
He is a freak of nature athletically.
Mm-hmm.
And if I get him in my building, I'm going to figure out what he does. There are teams that think he can play inside a linebacker. I mean, he runs fast enough to run with receivers.
I could see that. He's rangy enough to play that. I'll use a guy from my own team since we're getting ready to talk about them in a second, to play that Devin White missile across the field role. He can also be the ball hockey coverage linebacker.
Yep.
He can also be your pass rushing ace.
Yep.
So if I use the Tampa Bay Buccaneers as an example here, he could be Devin White, Shaq Barrett, and Levante David all wrapped into one.
Bingo. And somebody's going to say, but what about James Houston? He's a situational pass rusher. Mm-hmm. And guess what? When he's on the field, I'm going to throw Nolan Smith in the middle. I might even throw him in the fucking slot. And I'm going to have pieces. I can get a corner later. I cannot get a player like Nolan Smith later.
Yep. At number 19, fire them cannons. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers take.
I'm not sure if you're going to hate this or love it.
Okay.
All right, you're a Bucs fan. Who do you want it to be? I almost guarantee it's not going to be who it is.
I think I'm going Bijan Robinson.
You believe in Rashad White, and running back is a luxury when you're this killed up again. Having that much capital and 2 running backs, I'm going to judge you, and I love Bijan.
Right. Who are you going with?
Do you have a second that you would like it to be?
I'm
just curious if you guess it.
Probably Cam Smith from South Carolina.
He's not a first-round pick.
Really?
The personality. I just said that. Where were you, fucking playing show tunes in your head?
Of course.
Yeah, he's got personality red flags that he's going to be pushed in the second round, no doubt. Did you hit the button or?
Yeah, I did, but I'll hit it again.
There you go. Kalijah Cansey, defensive tackle, Pittsburgh. He's your 3-4 rush end, and I'm telling you, I hate the Aaron Donald comparison, but you're going to have to get after quarterbacks because you are not going to be able to shoot out. Mm-hmm. There's not really a corner that fits your scheme. There are a lot that are really good in man. The problem is you don't play man all that often.
Right. And
most of these guys blow dead bears in zone. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, you've had Emmanuel Forbes. You're going to hate it a lot. Eli Ricks is the one I keep targeting in the 3rd round with your pick because he fits that mold. He would fit nicely with you, and you don't tend to use first-round picks on corners.
No.
You did it once, and it burned you like Carolina Reaper sauce burned your tuchus.
Vernon Hargraves.
I'm not sure your arsehole has recovered from how badly Vernon Hargraves burned you.
Oh, no, and if there's a Florida player in the draft, Seacrest out.
Hey, we hit 100 concurrent viewers.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Let's fucking go.
All right. Let's see if we can hit 200. Hell with it. Fuck it. We'll do it live.
All right, so the Tampa Bay Buccaneers will end up here with Kalijah Cansey, the interior defensive lineman. Actually, he'll be the outside of the 3-4 in Tampa Bay. Him next to Vita Vea. I can't say I hate that at all.
Well, you shouldn't hate it.
At number 20, the Seattle Seahawks.
That would be a false start on me. There will be people that don't love this, and there will be people that do. You got Will Anderson.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not taking you another edge. I'm just going to level. I know this position is not super valuable. I don't know who on the interior I'm supposed to take. I considered Lucas Van Ness because he can play on the inside. I just don't necessarily know how good he's going to be at that in the NFL. So I got a little cute. Trenton Simpson, linebacker out of Clemson.
Okay.
He's my number one linebacker in this class. It's not even close.
Mm-hmm.
The Houston Texans will cry themselves to sleep if they don't get Trenton Simpson. And I mean that. Because there is a big-ass drop-off in terms of all-around linebacker, which is what you need next to Jordan Brooks. I've struggled with how long do you wait? Do you try to get Deion Henley in the second round? Whatever the case may be, I just can't get there. And Sloan Jordan said I would have said Michael Mayer. I would have too if he hadn't tested so poorly. And there's so many damn tight ends, and Seattle's got like 18 jillion picks. So I just couldn't do it. I considered it, but I couldn't do it.
All right, the number 21 pick did belong to Miami. They forfeited it, so now the number 21 pick belongs to...
They danced with Sean Payton and Tom Brady, and they went home to their wives. And so you lost a first-round pick.
Sorry, Miami.
the Los Angeles Chargers at number 21.
Bijan Robinson, running back out of Texas.
Well, that should make all L.A. Chargers fans happy.
I know Brian Haynes is in the comments, so I'd be remiss if I didn't do this. Go Chargers, go! I can't stop doing it. Because I can't see him going anywhere else.
Mm-hmm.
Bijan Robinson is my number one player in this class. But he's a running back. Philadelphia was tantalizing until I realized that their defense was going to be ransacked like a Portland grocery store. Oh, I still do it here too. Have no fear. Just because I'm not on terrestrial radio, I'll still take shots. I just can't. I can't find a place that he fits. He's so good, and I don't think anybody's trading up for a running back. I know Dallas would like to have him, but hell, there's several teams that would like to have him, but they're all in the back end of the 20s.
Mm-hmm.
He ain't lasting past the Chargers. I considered Mozzie Smith there, but there are a couple other true nose tackles that I think they can get in the second round. Gervon Dexter is who they actually get in this exercise, who I just love.
Alex Majabi says Eckler, Spiller, Kelly, and Robinson as the four. That's cool.
No.
Stop that.
Yeah, no. JT said, did Eckler retire? No, this is allow you to use him as the weapon he is because he can't run between the damn tackles.
Exactly.
Bijan is a dog.
Mm-hmm.
A dog.
Bijan's the between the tackles guy. Eckler is the Swiss Army knife that you need him to be.
No doubt. I mean, Bijan Robinson could come into this league. This is how good of a talent he is. He could come into this league, and his fourth game in the NFL, he could be a top 10 running back in the NFL. Could be a top 5 guy. Wouldn't shock me in the least. Just depends on where he goes. Just depends on where he goes.
At number 22, the Baltimore Ravens. Stephen Tao already asked, what wide receiver are we taking here? He will not accept anything other than a wide receiver.
Everything else is fucking shenanigans. Jordan Addison, wide receiver out of USC.
There you go. You got to have a weapon. I think you probably end up hanging on to Lamar Jackson some shape, form, or fashion. I still feel like the Lamar Jackson thing was Baltimore going, let's see who else, what other teams have an idea of what you should be paid. And we'll be glad to match it. But we're sick of playing this game with you. So either A, he finds a deal somewhere else, and then the Baltimore Ravens go, yeah, well, that's fine. We'll match it, and you're not going anywhere. Or he doesn't find the deal, and now they have him for a song for $32 million this coming year.
Bingo.
And another opportunity to obviously get the long-term extension done.
And I know Jordan Addison came into the combine thin, but he's very, very talented. And he's, in the words of Sling Blade, he's just a little feller. But he's a little feller that gets open a lot. I like Jordan Addison so much. Might need to eat a cheeseburger. Or, what is it, clam chowder? No, crab cakes. That's what
Crab
they do
cakes.
at New England, clam chowder, Baltimore crab.
Baltimore does two things. It's football and crab cakes.
I was going to say crab cakes and crimes, but okay.
You don't put that on the Chamber of Commerce website, okay?
No, that
we do.
Good
Thank
point.
you. Thank
Good
you.
point you got there.
At number 23, the Minnesota Vikings.
Zay Flowers, wide receiver, Boston College.
And Adam Thielen has been cut. That was the breaking news of the day before the big trade with the Carolina Panthers and the Chicago Bears.
That seems long. That seemed like that shit happened a long time ago, doesn't it?
It does. It does. Zay Flowers, you've loved this kid for a couple of years.
I love him so much. I do. I love him so much. I mean, I want he and I to be best friends and do karate in the garage. Like, there's no way my Jets can get him. And frankly, I don't see any way Carolina can get him. So it's a very long shot that we're going to become best friends. But I want us to, very badly.
Mm-hmm.
To me, he slots in. I think there are not many 5'9" receivers I think can play on the outside. I think Zay Flowers can, especially if he's on the opposite side of Justin Jefferson. You give me Zay Flowers on the opposite side of Justin Jefferson. Just sit back and watch what his stat line is next year. You get somebody that scares me that bad deep, Jefferson will have 2,000 friggin' yards next year.
At number 24, it is the Jacksonville Jaguars.
I know you want a corner. We're officially at that corner spot where I don't want to be the first one to do it because it's going to start a run. I have them taking Keely Ringo in the second round. There's a player here that has fallen, and he ought not have. Lucas Van Ness, edge out of Iowa. I love this kid so damn much. And I know it will scare teams that he didn't play that much, only had – I can't remember the stat total, and we did this quickly, so I didn't exactly have time to get all my notes up and shit.
Right.
I had to get a stream up and then hit and go.
I think I remember seeing a stat like he played like 40% of the snaps on defense.
Something like that. He also had the highest pass rush win rate in the country.
Absolutely.
At Iowa. So he's one of those players to me that he can do damn near anything. And I feel like Jacksonville is – I can't believe I'm about to say this out loud. Jacksonville took care of so many of their needs in free agency that now I can take the best player available. I don't give a damn who it is. I don't care what position he plays. As long as it's somewhat a position of need, I think they're good at tackle with Walker Little and Cam Robinson. Not a guard worth taking here. Not really an interior defensive lineman worth taking here. Plus, they re-signed Roy Robertson-Harris. So it seems as though they don't think that's an issue with him and Foley Fatukasi. So I give them the best player on the board and give you another player that can get after a quarterback, good replacement to Arden Key as well.
That is a hell of a trio of pass rushers that they will have with Lucas Van Ness and Trayvon Walker, who they took number 1 last year, and then, of course, there's Josh Allen.
Yes, and this is just another guy. I think you can stand Lucas Van Ness up, too. He looks really good in the mobility drills.
Number 25, the New York Giants.
This is probably the easiest pick in the draft and probably the one that pisses the most people off. Michael Mayer, tight end, Notre Dame. But we have Daniel Bellinger. Yeah, Michael Mayer can actually block. And Brian Daboll has already said he wants to play more 12 personnel. He's already said he's comfortable with the receivers they have. Read tea leaves. I mean, I'm not telling you everything comes out of his mouth is the truth. I'm just telling you, if you take what he says to heart, that means they're probably going to add a pass catcher that is not a traditional wide receiver.
Yeah, Daniel Bellinger is not a star tight end.
No, he's a 2. He's a 2 for a team that wants to run the damn ball. Michael Mayer's the best blocking tight end in this class, and it's not close. Well, I shouldn't say that. Him and
Darnell
Washington are 1 and 2. But Michael Mayer is a more explosive pass catcher. He's just better at all the things, better route runner. Darnell Washington is a better raw athlete.
Number 26, the Dallas Cowboys. Hold on, my page flipped on me. I gotta get back to it. Give me a second.
I have 47
there.
buttons.
There it
He
is.
has 4. Deonte Banks, cornerback out of Maryland.
Mm-hmm.
He fits that Dan Quinn system really nicely. I think he's a good second corner. You're losing Anthony Brown most likely. Not a linebacker worth taking here. I don't really think that – I think you're signing Odell Beckham Jr. So I think that's why you're clearing all this damn money is to make a run at him. The line is pretty well set. You don't have to do much there. I considered an edge rusher, and there's one sitting on the board that I think they would really look at. The problem is before your next pick comes up, there is going to be a run on corners.
The Buffalo Bills at number 27.
This is where I think the free fall stops. Broderick Jones, tackled Georgia. I like this kid a ton, but every person I talk to says, you've got to stop putting him so high. Mm-hmm. He's not going in the top 20. He's so raw. We see the talent, but he's going to have to be kind of brought along. My thought is you put him on the right side and you slide Spencer Brown into guard because he has been gnarls Barkley on the right side. So you take his big ass, slide him into guard, and try to run behind him.
The offensive line was the Achilles heel for the Buffalo Bills when they were in the playoffs and eventually losing to the Cincinnati Bengals, who, by the way, have the number 28 pick.
Ham real good on offense, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's not really a tackle worth taking here. It's a left tackle.
Yeah.
I have another big ass need too.
Mm-hmm.
Dalton Kincaid, tight end out of Utah.
Ooh,
that's another little tasty weapon for Joe Burr. You need a tight end. I think that helps. I think it really helps Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. Look, defensively, you've subtracted Eli Apple, which is that's positive.
Mm-hmm.
There are a lot of corners that I project as slot guys. I don't think Joe Mixon's going to get as in trouble as we once thought.
Mm-hmm.
Hold on, we got a super chat. Actually, I hadn't noticed this. William on YouTube.
I'm your huckleberry.
My Bills should trade for King Henry and sign Thielen, then draft an offensive lineman, sign defensive players like Wagner and another safety like Taylor Rapp. That's asking a lot of people to take really cheap deals because you're hemorrhaged against the cap, but it's not a bad plan.
On a very veteran team.
Well, I mean, and that's the thing. You're going to have a lot of guys. So Derrick Henry, they have basically let it be known he can be had, and that ain't bites yet.
Mm-hmm.
So could he end up in a place like Buffalo? Wouldn't shock me in the least. They looked at it and went, you know what? We're going to push this as far down the road as we can. We'll start restructuring some deals, and we're going to get as much talent in this building as we can and go win a fucking Super Bowl. Because you're on the short side of that deal with Josh Allen.
Yeah. Is Derrick Henry, though, that move? Is he the missing link that Buffalo needs to not only win a Super Bowl, but to even get to a Super Bowl? And the fact that you're probably going to have to pay him, what, $13 million?
It sure as hell don't hurt. I mean, it sure as hell don't hurt.
Mm-hmm. Number 29, New Orleans Saints.
This is a tough one, too, but I feel like New Orleans is in one of those, I need a player that can play right now. You're going to lose Marcus Davenport because somebody's probably going to give him stupid money. So I'm going to replace him with a guy that's younger and on a rookie deal, and that guy is Miles Murphy, edge out of Clemson.
Okay. Nah, I mean, at this point, is it worth the comparisons from Miles Murphy to Cleveland Farrell?
Well, I mean, you got to think how he comes in New Orleans. I can use him as a situational pass rusher. I can bulk him up. I can be patient with him because you still have Peyton Turner. You still have Cameron Jordan. I mean, that defense is good.
Mm-hmm.
I would love to give you a corner here. There's not one that makes even a half-ass lick of sense. Not for what you do. But there is a cornerback run coming.
At number 30, the Philadelphia Eagles.
I looked a lot of places here, and I considered I kept looking at Jahmyr Gibbs going, yeah, I could do that. I'm not going to, but I could. Once I saw this, I couldn't unsee it. You need young pieces on that defense, right? Mm-hmm. I've already said I'm okay with the defensive tackle tandem. You just have to know that you're not as deep as you once were. Will McDonald IV, edge out of Iowa State.
Interesting.
I like that one a lot because he fits what they do so well. Because with all the concepts that Philadelphia, and I'm assuming here that Sean Desai is going to keep these things in place. You get him on the outside of a tackle, and he is allowed to just use sheer raw speed to get off the edge. He will kill linemen in the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
Where it becomes a problem is when you start trying to use him 3 downs. He needs to be bulked up. It's going to take some time to do that, but he comes into the league and get to the quarterback immediately.
All right, final pick of the first round at number 31. It's the Kansas City Chiefs.
This is another team. I looked a lot of places, and I kept coming back to 2 players. You took several players in the secondary last year, so I don't really think you're going to do that again. But would it not be advantageous to have a situational guy in the beginning that has a high upside that you could play next to Chris Jones?
Yeah.
To get after a quarterback.
Yeah.
That's weird. There's one of those on the board. Number 31 overall, Brian Brise, defensive tackle out of Clemson.
Oh, that's a hell of a pick.
I thought so as well.
Yeah, that's a great pick.
I mean, look, the good thing, the reason that good teams stay good is because they can sit at the back end of the draft and go, who didn't fit anybody else? Oh, that's fine. We'll go take him.
No, this is much better.
Miles Murphy, nom, 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 nom. Brian Brise.
It's much better than the last pick in the first round that they had, which went to Clyde Edwards-Helaire.
Yep. That went about as well as I told you it was going to.
But Brian Brise, he's a hell of a story out of Clemson. He'd be a great player at the next level, I think. And why not send him to the defending Super Bowl champions?
So starting Monday, we will be doing a daily draft.
You see what we did there? It's a segment on the show. And then
11 o'clock every weekday, 30 minutes, draft questions, all the different things. Going through free agency, when players sign, we'll tell you how that affects draft strategy and things like that. Looking really forward to that. Got some cool music for it, little buttons. And it will be all of your questions because that's early in the morning. I'm not much of a morning person, so I'm not doing a ton of prep for it. I'm going to sit down and go, ooh, draft shit. Let's go. So that'll start at 11 a.m. Monday.
Yes.
And much appreciation to you for sticking around for an extra hour.
You're welcome.
While we do a mock drafty things.
Hey, when news breaks, you got to be here. The Carolina Panthers trading up from number 9 to number 1 in the NFL draft in 2023. They will have their choice of the quarterbacks. The question now is, who is that guy?
Betting markets just taking a live look at that. CJ Stroud's up to minus 350.
Holy smokes,
So
it just keeps getting bigger.
It looks like somebody knows something, or the average bettor is just a complete damn sheep. You don't make this move without knowing who you're going to get.
Exactly.
So that makes me think it's CJ Stroud. And number 1 pick for Carolina. And, Godspeed to him. I don't know how you're going to add weapons to that team. But starting next week, 3-round mock drafts for every team. Be sure to hit that like button. We're so glad that so many of you joined in on this. It was a total on-the-fly, hey, the team we covered just traded for the number 1 pick. Maybe we should do a mock draft. Let's go.
Yeah, 11 o'clock Monday morning for the daily draft info with at ESPN Draft Nerd Jeremy Greene. Be sure to follow him on Twitter and send all the hate his way. He loves it. He lives for it.
I thrive on it.
And we will see you, of course, for the live show, 3 hours every weekday afternoon, 3 to 6 on ESPN Asheville. Heard everywhere on the iHeartRadio app and, of course, seen right here on YouTube. Have a great weekend.